Hello, good night, and welcome to our show, Transcending Work, Harnessing the Courage to Lead. And tonight we are with a longtime friend of mine, someone I met way back in 1999, not revealing my age at all. Um, my actual life twin, born in the same day as me, the same year as me, and we worked at the same company very briefly. So,
Yeah.
Woods is the CEO of a leading food and beverage company, and she has gone on from being a trade representative to growing marketing and commercial campaigns across many food and beverage companies over the years across the Caribbean and in Central America as well. And some of her successes include turning around major snack brand businesses, quadrupling top line result, and also designing and developing successful launches of the Sol Danza tropical snacks brand into Central America, and lead optimization of down trade distribution in Jamaica and Trinidad, etc. So Vidia has a really decorated background, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Catherine.
It's such a pleasure to have you in this
No,
kind of
long
forum.
time no see in our Trinity parlance.
Absolutely. So, Vidya, first of all, I really want to ask how you're doing because I know this year has been absolutely extraordinary. When I think about the Caribbean, about Trinidad, and about where you are now in Barbados, and I'd really like to know how you are doing first of all, and how is business in general.
Okay. Well, again, thanks for having me. How am I doing? My God, for the whole world, 2020 has been an amazing year. I'm Trinidadian, as you know, and I'm letting everyone know, based here in Barbados. And, it's been especially rough, COVID and all, in terms of not being able to get back home to my family right now. So my family's in Trinidad, and, I have siblings in other markets, and it's so difficult. So I've had to stay very put, very calm, and very collected, and focused because in managing a business the size I do here in Barbados, it's important to keep your head on and really look at the opportunities that are there and stay as positive. So I think I'm pretty good now. I baked a lot during COVID times, I think we ate a little too much that as we were trapped on the inside. But I think I'm fine, Thanks for asking. I'm pretty good.
Right. It's been a crazy year of discovery in a way as well, because I've seen so many different types of images coming across my social feed, right? So from people doing creative stuff, arts and crafts, to baking, to learning how to live in a different way. So I think that's been a huge positive, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of other things that we need to deal with, right? So I think one of the realities for the Caribbean right now is the tourist season.
Yeah.
So the fact that that can't happen, I mean, what's been Barbados's sort of reaction to this whole challenge?
Well, to be honest, I think Barbados did a fabulous job in the Caribbean so far. I mean, the Caribbean being made up of so many small states, we've been affected in different ways in all the different markets. You have high numbers of COVID cases in Jamaica, in Trinidad. Barbados to date has had about 251 cases. At this point in time, only 6 current cases. I think they've done a fabulous job of really managing the situation, managing the borders, making sure there are proper protocols in place. And that didn't come overnight and that didn't come easy. I mean, by no way did, this country or any country know how to deal with this unprecedented situation. What I think was a bit of a magic one here in Barbados is that the Prime Minister, who's doing a fabulous job, Honorable Mia Motley, really pulled the people together. I mean, there was a lot of partnership between social partnership between the private sector and the public sector. From day one, from the first case, there was a lot of conversation happening, a lot of meetings, really brainstorming, trying to figure out how do we address the issues in the different sectors. As small as how do we open the supermarkets? How do we close? What times do bars open and close? How are we going to manage staff getting home safely, interaction, teaching everybody about personal COVID protocols. So I think Barbados did a really good job in that regard. I mean, Barbados is highly and strongly dependent on tourism. So it's really about reinventing, and it wouldn't happen overnight. I mean, tourism is part of our narrative. So I think it's about really looking now how to diversify and ensure that we can really increase employment. A lot of people became unemployed during this period, close to 40% of the workforce. And because so much of the workforce is dependent on the tourism industry. So, I mean, it's really about retooling and really job creating jobs, new jobs. And I think there is a lot of focus there. Again, having other teams, and these are teams made up of public and private sector, working alongside the government to really provide opportunities. You know, it's work in progress. It is a tough place to be. The economy is very sluggish, but I think there's so much positivity. There's so much hope, and there is belief. You know, and there is discipline. Discipline is a big word. You know.
No, it's interesting as well because I've seen, well, the excitement that I've seen at least here in the UK when Barbados announced its 1 year remote work policy. So that created buzz around the world, right? I don't know how that's actually played out in reality.
Well, and over the last month or so, the last time I checked, I heard they got about 1,000 application, which is not bad at all, right? For a population this size, we're only talking about just under 200,000, citizens, residents. So you're not, that's pretty good. So
Yes.
we're happy for it. I think what it does is it's force individuals to really get ready for alternative sources of income, making sure they're COVID ready as well, and following the protocol. So I think it's a great opportunity to have persons come here and work and live for the next 12 months. And for them as well, what a beautiful place to be able to come and live and work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what do you think about what we could be doing as a wider Caribbean? So, it's like I no longer live in the Caribbean, but I still care deeply about what happens there. And I'm always looking at the trends in Trinidad and in Barbados, etc. What do you think the region can do differently?
Well, to be honest with you, I think there are a couple things we can do differently or learn from, and it's probably in progress already, right? Because we're not privy to all the conversations. But I think, the heads of government need to continue to work closely together. There is no need to reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of things that are working in some markets and not working in some markets. It's kind of creating the playbook and sharing the playbook, and bringing the Caribbean really together as a genuine single community, single economy. So, in terms of dealing with COVID and really being able to continue our life, because we can't stop living, right? And Caribbean people are warm, happy people. We love to party. We love our music. We love to, it's very difficult with social distancing. You know how much we love to
Yeah.
dance and hug up and love up, So to live in a safe manner. So, from a COVID protocol perspective, there's a lot that can be shared and applied. From an economy place, I think there is a lot more that we can do because we can reinforce the Caribbean and really seek to look for supply out of the Caribbean more. So, for example, understanding our skill set. How diversified can we do, providing more services to each other and even food security? Like Guyana has the ability to provide a lot of food, Trinidad, Jamaica, and that really helps us with our even foreign reserves, sharing in terms of even the tourism industry, the airlines, Caribbean Airlines is here. You have all these different airlines, intra-Caribbean. If we allowed more intra-regional travel, that would be more cost effective, that we can somewhat, still enjoy a level of, tourism, even, learn the Caribbean more. There's a bright side to all of it. So I think COVID is forcing us to innovate. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity. It's just about having more conversations and being open and engaging. And as I said, some of that can be happening in the background already, but really activating a little faster because it's not waiting on us.
Yeah, and one of my pet areas is around sustainability. And what I see as an opportunity here as well is to further that sustainability question, right? I mean, there's so much more that we could be doing local, as you say. and even
Yeah.
using different means, right? It's like, we are people who sail, we should be doing more of this kind of thing, as part of our tourism belt, and all of that. So there's a lot of potential, and in a way, for all the horrible things that COVID has brought, I think it's given us a great opportunity to start thinking differently about the planet as well.
Yeah, and to innovate. I mean, we talk about recovery, reimagining what our business should look like, in when recovery mode, not just it's forced us to innovate, it's forced us to renovate, really look at the way we do business differently. And by no means is it easier. It's not easy at all. It's not easy steps. So we're not trying to oversimplify. We could start fishing more around here. The industries need to set up the processes and the systems in place. But I mean, if I brought it down to our little cousin down here in Barbados, we were forced to automate a lot more processes faster. So you can have quicker access to the port, clearing your containers, less human interaction, doing a lot more things online rather than having that interface, that personal interface. So I think, different markets in the Caribbean are at different stages, but we're heading in the same direction. It's more about bringing it together, having a unified approach now.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So I want to change tacks a little bit. So I know that you are a traveler like me. So I know that you must be going like at this moment. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because following your career, following my career as well, is like I've seen you travel the world as well, and I wanted to talk about what that has brought to your work and what you're doing now in Barbados and elsewhere, because you've worked across the Caribbean.
Yeah. You know, I have to say I'm blessed. I'm very grateful for the opportunities I've had. People often ask me, how you travel so much? And, it's so expensive. Well, I think I get to use stuff like miles and Airbnb and really using their credit card smartly. And I share that with persons because I really wish for everyone to have that exposure, not get trapped in our side of the world or little part of the world and think this is the only way it's done or how it's done. I think travel has really, I don't know, widened my horizon in so many ways. From my love of music, my passion for food, the way to do work ethic. I've had to engage with so many persons in different cultures because not only did I travel for fun, I also traveled for work. I traveled to study. And, I told persons about different blended programs that I did. And you had to meet persons from all over the world and learn about the way they approach work and their work ethic, speed, the way they innovate. I've been able to apply a lot of that in the way I work now, in terms of how you balance your day, how you prioritize, being more open to digital transformation, and not being trapped in one way of doing this is how we do it and that is it. There is no other way. So travel really, I mean, I recommend it for everybody, of course, and not even just stay with the Western Hemisphere where we are, just going to the other sides. It's so different. Like I was sharing with you earlier, I was in Japan last October. Who knows 2 months later what would have happened to the world? So I'm grateful I had that opportunity. But everything had me wowed because they simplify, they automate every single thing and the touch of a button. They make the level of convenience, the ease of doing anything from traveling to going to the bathroom to being in a restaurant to making an order. It's just amazing. So how do we bring those things home now and apply it to the Caribbean and work with the heads of the Caribbean to really, make our homes. I want to say homes because I consider myself a Caribbean girl. I'm born Trini, but I mean, I work the whole Caribbean and I absolutely love and feel very passionately about how we could improve the Caribbean.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's inspiring, and I think travel fundamentally starts to break down sort of beliefs that we've grown up with, right? So
Yeah.
it starts to really expand your mind to
Yeah.
to be open to a lot of things you never thought you could do,
Yeah.
right? And I think
Culture.
that's definitely what it's done for me as well.
Yeah. Culture, business techniques, just I even reflect on India and how business is conducted there and the perceptions and even the role of the woman and it's really it was, I mean, my eyes are already large, right? And my eyes were up even more.
It's so true. It's so true. I think one of the things I think that also people don't understand as well is I feel, and I don't know if you feel this, but I feel in the Caribbean, women have a much stronger role, a much more vibrant role than when
Yeah.
you travel outside of the Caribbean. So
Yes.
it's quite interesting. Like living in the UK
Yes.
now as well, it's like
Yes.
I definitely feel a difference in how
Yes.
I was perceived as a woman in Trinidad to how I'm perceived as
Yes.
a woman here.
And that is such, you're not just the homemaker, you lead the home, you play such an important role. Like, I even remember my one of my first observations moving to Jamaica, because I lived in Jamaica for just over 4 years, was the strength of a woman and how they take charge of their home and how protective they are of not only their kids but their mate, their partner, their husband, whatever it is. Very protective. And they are homemakers to the place where they're not just at home preparing the stuff or whatever it is. It is about going after the income. They become very creative. They're able to reinvent themselves if needed. And you notice that across the Caribbean in different ways as well. Some are a little quieter than others, but very.
Definitely. So the last bit that I want to pivot to is about careers, right? So I know that across the world there are entire industries that are suffering right now, and people who are starting to pivot, looking for roles, moving around. What kind of advice would you give to people looking for roles right now, and what sort of characteristics are you looking for when you decide to hire someone, for example, who may not have the technical background?
So for me, I think in today's, and not just coming out of COVID, but it made it more pronounced. We have to be flexible. In terms of our skill set, you don't need to limit yourself to any particular field or skill set. I mean, somebody I would like to have on board at any point in time, I look at their level of passion. Their level of passion to win. Yes, you have to have the requisite qualifications depending on the role you're going in for. Experience is always good, but what is your attitude? Do you have the attitude to win? Are you open to learning? Are you open to innovation? Or are you just existing? Being results oriented isn't just only about the numbers. It's about improving the processes and making sure wherever you join, you leave it a better place than you found it. And challenging. I love that. I love when people can challenge the status quo. Nothing has to be the way we met it. And it's not just challenging for the sake of challenging. It's because you're
Yeah.
challenging for continuous improvement. So, I mean, in terms of recruits, that's what I would say to that. In terms of persons looking at sources of income now, it's not really limiting yourself to a job, a regular job. It's looking at your entrepreneurial side as well. One of my mentors, one of my coaches, my closest mentors, you would remember him. You may remember him, Wazid. He always said to me, listen, you need to have 6 sources of income. And I was like, when he first told me that, I was like, what do you mean? He said,
Yes.
you have to be able to reinvent yourself in so many ways that you're able to have 6 sources of income. So whether you look at a job, being an entrepreneur, having a business, businesses on the side, bonds, stocks, mutual funds, all these things add up. And I think we almost have to wrap our mind, because I am sure so many people are panicking right now because they are out of jobs or the job they knew it to be, that they now need to reinvent themselves and think, how am I really going to support my family? And not limiting yourself to thinking it has to be just a job. What service can I offer in this age? So, for example, there are people who are looking at, delivery apps, delivering stuff to your home. So many people don't want to engage with stores or with restaurants. They may pick up your stuff, and that has money in it. You know,
Yes.
people getting more into digital transformation projects. Offering services for you online, for your social media, taking a lot of what you can do and figuring out how to have less interaction. But I mean, it really is challenging, because here as well, you're looking at diversifying from tourism. So what else can we do? What we could look at, even considering medical cannabis. Is there an opportunity to have more of that in the Caribbean? I mean, we use it a lot, but recreationally, can we really create a proper industry? So,
Yes.
girl, I can talk about that for hours. I think there's so many ideas. The problem is bringing those ideas to fruition, and
Yes.
really having to engage with the legal framework as well to make sure we're doing the right thing,
Absolutely. I think one of the things, I look back at my own career and I realize that I've never had a fear to reinvent myself. So I moved from finance to internal audit to supply chain to now digital marketing and business development, right?
Yeah.
And I think what people don't realize is it's actually not that hard if you get out of your own way.
Yeah.
So it's like it's controlling the noises in the back of your head that says I can't or this isn't for
Yes.
me. Anything could be for you
Yeah.
if you just
I
put
mean,
the effort.
and you know this. I started off in marketing, then marketing and sales. I got myself into R&D, and it was really about understanding. And the beauty of the jobs that I've had and my leadership, the persons I would report to, they allowed me to have that exposure to all the different areas of the business, so that I could then maneuver or navigate myself into business turnaround, which I absolutely love, which then touches every area of the business. How could I do this better? How could I improve a process? How could I learn finance in a much better way and apply all the different financial documents you could learn about, from P&L to cash flow? You know what I mean? Just making sure we do not limit ourselves. That's the one thing. It's really, as you say, getting out of your own way.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. So, Vidya, this has been a lovely conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on the show and taking the time out because I know this is an awkward time of the day for you. If anyone has any questions for Vidya as you go through, just hit hashtag replay and ask any questions. I'm sure Vidya will be happy to answer them. And also, you can come across to my group on Facebook, Career Sketching, where we talk about all of these topics as well. So, Vidya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.